It's the Dynamite Drop, baby. You know the names. It's Ashlee and Shawn. The verbal bang bang gang, guns up. All elite takes, no filler hitting you. Harder than a Blade Runner. You want heat, they deliver every week. It's a thriller, it's a Dynamite Drop. Powered by the hub, and that's undisputed.
You know, when you hear that music, it could mean only one thing. It's the Dynamite Drop, powered by the Hub Sports and Entertainment Network. Ashlee, allow me to explain what the network is to all the fine people listening to us today. It is a collection of 3 shows, the best 3 shows in professional wrestling podcast history. On Tuesday morning, you get the Draw Sauce Raw. It's Eric B., Randy C., the Raw Dog, and his partner in crime. They cover everything good, bad, and ugly from Monday Night Raw. Then, today, Friday, the best day of the week, of course, in my humble opinion, it's your Dynamite Drop with my friend Ashlee and, of course, me, Shawn. And this week, it's a special week because this is our birthday week. So, guns up, celebrate your favorite tag team on the network. And of course, tomorrow there's a podcast that covers SmackDown. I think it's Father Grave Phantom and Brad the Dad. They claim to be the A team for some odd reason. So yeah, if you get to listen to this podcast tomorrow, check out what they say about SmackDown. It might be worth a listen. I don't know. Who knows? So Ashlee, what are we doing for our birthday?
Again, seemingly a shapingly nice episode of Collision this weekend, and had a pretty damn good episode of Dynamite this week.
You know, I gotta say, it was one of the best episodes of Dynamite this year so far, and I'm looking forward to Collision coming on Saturday. But before we get started, let's hit you up with a little Dynamite Control Center as we have some news. As this broke literally today before I got home from work, Jim Ross went onto his X/Twitter account and announced that he has colon cancer, and he'll be having surgery in the next couple of weeks. We just want to express our well wishes and want to send out our thoughts and prayers to Mr. Ross and hope he has a speedy recovery because this is the voice of our generation of professional wrestling, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, absolutely. Jim Ross, unfortunately, has had quite a few health battles over the past few years, so hopefully another one he can overcome and get back, like you said, as quickly as possible because we need this guy. Some of these main events we got coming up, we're going to need him.
Very, very true. He is a national treasure. He is the voice of main events when it comes to professional wrestling, and we want to wish him a very speedy recovery. Our second item in our control center, per Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful, Willow Nightingale has re-signed with AEW. We approve of this. Willow Nightingale is one of the best ladies going in AEW and in professional wrestling at the moment.
Yeah, a great re-signing for AEW and a really good sign that it seems like they got it done with like ample time left on her existing contract. It seems like Willow stayed where she wanted to be and the number was right. And with the way this women's division is going, keeping Willow around is something they needed to do. So it was very good news for AEW.
Exactly. And if Sean Ross, if you're listening, please spell Sean with 5 letters. It's SHAWN. Thank you very much. Have a great day. On to my next story. As this past episode of Dynamite that we'll be covering here just in a moment for you fine people had the best performance since September the 18th, 2022, as AEW Dynamite had averaged 682,000 viewers on TBS. That's up 8.4% from the week before. This is definitely not a B show. This is the A show, Ashlee.
Oh, yeah. I think, if anything, the past few weeks have certainly solidified that. I think it's done pretty well. They've had some really good lead-ins with some of the basketball games, with the collisions following right after. There's been a lot of buzz around them kind of coming from it. I've seen a lot of stuff on social media from some surprising accounts that I wouldn't expect to be into wrestling, talking about being at the show, especially this week. It's good news. Hopefully they can keep up the momentum. And this isn't even factoring in max numbers.
I know, that's crazy. I think it's not even factoring into max numbers. I say with the max numbers, you're looking at closer to 800,000 views, which is amazing for a professional wrestling company in 2025.
And for a very good episode. Nice number.
And before we leave the control center, we do want to pay our respects to one Sabu, who passed away this week at age 60. Sabu is a legend, and using the word legend is probably not justifying what this guy did for professional wrestling, through his career. He is the heart and soul, in my opinion, of ECW and the hardcore style of professional wrestling that a lot of people have come to know and love.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. He is undoubtedly one of the top people that comes to your mind when you think of hardcore wrestling. We've lost a couple of wrestlers over the past like week or two, so this is a big loss, especially because Sabu is still so active in wrestling and still passing on what he knew. So a big loss, and honestly, if you need to kind of hear any words about it, definitely check out what Taz had to say on this week's episode.
Yes, exactly. You will understand exactly how much Sabu meant to Taz and anybody in ECW because Taz was literally choking through the words he was saying and that nice little eulogy he did on Dynamite. And I just was looking at the announcement going like, somebody hug Taz right now, please, and thank you.
You know, they were super close and it's never get easy. So, wishing all the best to Sabu's friends and family as well.
Exactly. Everybody here at the Dynamite Drop and the Hub Network would love to pass along our condolences to Sabu's family, friends, co-workers, and fans. And there's no easy way to segue, so we're going to do the best we can do, entertain you guys like Sabu will want us to do, as we give you our breakdown of this past episode of Dynamite. And Ashlee, our tag team, they coexisted. They used our birthday powers and combined and formed one of the best tag teams known to man. And I do believe that we want this tag team to stay together now, please.
Honestly, both of these teams I wouldn't mind seeing stay together. But yeah, Hangman and Ospreay, guys, first of all, you cannot do a finish like that and then not want me to not want them to stay together forever as a tag team. I loved this. I there was no doubt in my mind I wouldn't. Fantastic match for everybody. Takeshita and Alexander gelled in a way that was very surprising for a team that we haven't seen pair up at all yet.
Well, after this match, I had two more matches I want to add to future Hurt business, as the Hurt Syndicate needs to have matches for titles against these two tag teams. Tony, if you're listening, thank you very much.
Oh, God. Yes. Yes. Yes to both of them. And undoubtedly, like we said, great match. And post-match stuff, very good for the build for Hangman versus Ospreay coming up.
Well, they got along just good enough to get through the match. And now it's on to prior business, because now we got to decide who's going to face John Moxley. And both these gentlemen believe it's going to be them, not the other one.
Both of them making a really good case for it. These are undoubtedly two of AEW's best in-ring talents. And I am so ready for this match at Double or Nothing.
I know we're a little bit under 2 weeks away from Double or Nothing, and it cannot get here fast enough. And you can hold a gun to my head right now to make me pick this freaking match.
It's gonna be so good. I'm ready. Especially they've had some really good promo segments. Kind of seeing them interact in the ring this little bit was very good. I liked the very close calls they had where Hangman almost hits him with the buckshot. He almost hit Hangman with the hidden blade. Ospreay caught something pretty gnarly in the nose though. I did see his nose bleeding after the match.
I'm just hoping it's not too serious and won't jeopardize anything going forward as we head towards Double or Nothing. Let's talk about the next match. This next match had no reason to be as good as it was, but apparently somebody put Zach Gowen in crowd sleep for 20 years, and Zach Gowen had a damn good match with Ricochet. And who had that in 2025 or any 2020, whatever we were in?
Yeah, honestly, I mean, we were kind of laughing at the idea, intrigued by it, but truthfully, very unexpected. A very good match, and Ricochet just continues to excel in this character. I love it, and I loved seeing Zach Gowen get to kind of have this chance. He even was on social media and was like, "Hey, thanks for letting me come in and kind of get in there one last time." So, very cool. I mean, he looked great.
After this match, I was looking on Twitter going like, Tony, All Elite, he is All Elite graphic, please. Can we have another one, maybe? Look at me. I had one Zach Gowen match in 20 years and now one more.
He's like, no, I need more. You still have a whole nother wrestling company. You're never wanting for spots.
Let's see here. AR Farts versus Zach Gowen. Yes. Will Ospreay versus Zach Gowen? Yes. Shelton Benson versus Zach Gowen? Do I need to do more for you, or do you see the way I'm going here?
I get it.
Speaking of our friends in the Hurt Syndicate, we're up to the match they had, and you know what? We just need to start adopting Top Flight and just trying to give Top Flight some more exposure and tell good old Tony Khan, our buddy, please, for the love of God, find another tag team for the Hurt Syndicate to hurt.
Yeah. Top Flight looked a little a little hurt after last night. Not unsurprisingly with Lashley and Shelton, but kind of another knockdown in what kind of feels like a very stagnant Top Flight.
You know, when they first broke into AEW, they seemed to be like the ones that were marked to be the next. And this may be me just being giving them too much praise or maybe laughing this a little too high. To me personally, it felt like they were earmarked to be the next kind of young buck tag team, if you get what I feel here, Ashley.
Yeah, no, I had the same exact feeling. And, there was obvious setbacks with like injuries and things of that nature. But when they came back together, they didn't look like they had missed a step at all. And I sort of assumed we would continue with that push as we've done with other people in the past. But we've kind of been stuck on this crew feud. And now they've just been kind of getting whooped weekly by the Hurt Syndicate.
Well, it's funny you say crew because during this match, we had the squash of Top Flight. Afterwards, the Sons of Texas came down to challenge the Hurt Syndicate to a future title shot. Then here comes the crew down to do the same thing. So I got to give it to my guy, Leo Rush, because he mentions, hey, Bobby, since we have a little bit of history here, my friend, throw the crew a little bone here. Can we have a title shot, please?
Bobby Lashley, not very receptive. Not very willing here.
And Mr. MVP, being the business person he is, he's tired of BS. So he said, you two tag teams, go over to Collision, have a match. The winner can have a title shot at Double or Nothing. We got more Hurt Syndicate business to get down to, and you're not on the docket this week.
Yeah, so it's going to be settled this week. It looks like this weekend. We'll find out who's going to be challenging the Hurt Syndicate next. I don't know if we kind of throw in a quick Dustin and Sammy match, or I think we have to go crew now. You've done the Top Flight match. I think crew kind of has their opportunity now. I think maybe they kind of screw over Dustin and Sammy here.
I feel like we're going to have the crew versus the Hurt Syndicate at Double or Nothing. And I'm just happy it's not Top Flight and they get another L. We can change the disposable tag team to another tag team now. And I feel like that's the way we're going. But the best part of this business is what's up next. As MJF is not as willing to come out to face the Hurt Syndicate. Wonder why, Ashley? Wonder why?
He's not willing to come out, but you know what? Tony Khan is absolutely willing to tell Shelton Benjamin exactly where MJF is. he snitched him out so fast when Shelton Benjamin came into the back.
Well, Shelton is not one to be trifled with, so I don't blame Tony Khan whatsoever. I'd be like writing that dude out too. And how about Renee Protect before this going over to Max and going like, what would happen if they didn't want you in the group? And she just taps him on the shoulder.
And I love MJF during this too, as like Shelton's grabbing him. He was like, "Oh, go out there with you." Yeah, no, that was great. I was just gonna pitch that idea. I was just thinking that. He looks like he's about to piss himself.
So we get the guys in the ring. We know the deal. It's all about 3 thumbs up. So, of course, MVP's thumb up. Shelton did a little tease, but he was thumbs up as well. And of course, Bob steals the show. He milks this thing for all it's worth, as you're not sure if we're going up or down. But, oh my God, it's up. Everybody, don't hug Bob. MJF taught you, don't hug Bob.
Yeah. So, Shelton gave the thumbs up, but Shelton didn't look like he was going to stand by that for too long. I don't think MJF is going to last.
Actually, I agree with you. If you're like looking at this like Facebook wise, well, MJF and Hurt Syndicate are going to go on Facebook and go like, new relationship confirmed. I don't think we're going to get Facebook confirmed status here.
Oh no, I think they are ultimately just messing with MJF, and I'm a little afraid because we've seen what MJF does when when things don't go according to MJF's plan. We know how nasty he can get, and I think if he is truly about to be humiliated by the Hurt Syndicate, I think we could see an evil from MJF that we maybe haven't seen yet.
Well, you know that MJF is the devil in disguise, and he always says there's nobody on the level of the devil. But unfortunately, I think the devil's going to have a Bobby Lashley-sized problem, and I don't think he's ready for that kind of hard work.
No, he. I mean, he's capable. He just doesn't want to. That's the problem.
Well, I'm saying I feel like we're counting down to the day Bob decides to look over at MVP, and MVP's like, damn, I'm tired of carrying this kid up. Thumbs down.
Yeah. And then interestingly, we'll kind of just talk about that little segment too while we're talking about this. A little later, MJF and MVP are in the back again. And MJF tells him, hey, I'll have Sterling, my lawyer, go over the contract and we'll go through everything. And MVP seems a little off put by this.
Exactly. It's like MVP's like, kid, I've been your mentor. You don't trust me. And I'm with MVP because if your idea of a lawyer is Mr. Mark Sterling, do you really need this dude in the Hurt Syndicate? Because I don't think he's on the same level as MVP here.
No, I mean, truly, MJF needs to remember the whole Moxley situation from a few years back with Sterling. But kind of weird to see MVP get a little ruffled by that.
Well, you know, MVP's here for business, and you need to respect the man controlling the business. And it's like the new hire. You know, at work, you get that new hire who thinks he knows a little bit more than he really should. And he starts trying to weasel his way into do things in his own way. MVP's the seasoned manager looking at this going like, I just brought you into this business. I had to do some heavy lifting to get you approved. And now you want to do this. Okay. Let me show you who the boss is.
Yeah, like we said, very interesting. I think MJF is getting his hopes a little too high for how good next week is going to be for him.
If I was MJF, I'd be praying to whatever higher power I believe in that Bob does not lose faith in me, or Bob doesn't change his mind and hate my guts.
Definitely, because we saw the how big Bobby Lashley was when he put his arm around MJF.
We're moving over to the four-way eliminator match to determine the future opponent for Timeless Tony Storm. And I gotta say, Mina Surikawa as your winner here is a fine choice, but we just had Sky Blue make her return debut in Chicago, of all places, her hometown. Can't we let the hometown girl get a win here? Hometown girl for the win?
I kind of expected. It's tough because we knew Mina was coming in as a new signee for AEW, as finally like under AEW contract, but it wouldn't have hurt to give Sky Blue this opportunity. You're going to push Mina Shirakawa regardless, you know. She's coming in, she's automatically going to become a player in this women's division. And I think we could have. I mean, I say we could have used this to build up Sky Blue, but maybe we use she's coming back from injury, you know, like it's tough.
It all depends on if we're trying to remove the AEW Women's World title from Thomas Tony Storm at Double or Nothing. If we're going to remove the title from her, okay, fine, Mina would be a good choice. Are we going to do that and revisit Mariah May versus Mina Shirakawa in a feud over the summer?
That would be great. I would love to see that. It was very cool to see Azumi come in. We haven't seen her in AEW in a minute. And I was very surprised, honestly, that Mina got the clean pin over Toni Storm.
I was really surprised that Toni Storm was the one that took the pinfall, because I thought Azumi was brought in just for this reason to take the pinfall in this four-way, so that way your world champion didn't have her shoulders to the mat.
Yeah, and you could avoid, obviously, like, returning Sky Blue kind of being on the losing end, and new signee Mina. I mean, big choice, and I do like that it's only one, but it does make the Eliminator mean something. So hopefully we can kind of mix these Eliminators up a little more. We see them on both AEW and Ring of Honor quite a bit, and they usually are just matches that go in favor of the champion very quickly. So hopefully if we can kind of get this one as like hey, we can, give out a title shot here and there with these Eliminators, I wouldn't mind seeing them as much.
I agree with you, Ashley. If you're going to have this as a way to determine your champions, occasionally you need to have the champion lose one of these suckers.
Yeah,
like
they
you
said
said.
this was Toni Storm's first loss, and I think it was, like, now 13. She was, like, 12-1 now in eliminator matches.
If that is not home field advantage or champion's advantage, I don't know what is. That's like my Cowboys or your Broncos always knowing that they're going to have a home playoff game at the end of the season.
Yeah, and we haven't had one in so long.
Well, let's go on to more interesting things on AEW Dynamite. As we had Nigel and Tony Schiavone in the ring, they're talking about what happened on Collision, and Nigel is about to apologize to FTR for stepping out of line just a little bit. He's an announcer now. He shouldn't be in the ring. But, Stokely Halfway had to come down and run his mouth to Nigel, and Daniel Garcia comes down. So you have the baby faces there looking at Stokely, and Stokely's just poking the bear. And here comes FTR from the back. They attack Garcia and Nigel, and this leads to us getting confirmed that at Double or Nothing, Nigel McGuinness, Danny Garcia versus FTR, and oh my boy, there's gonna be a European forearm with Stokely Hathaway's name on it.
I'm just excited. I hope there's a Tower of London with his name on it. I loved this. I loved everything about this. Sorry, guys. I love everything about this with FTR, Tony Schiavone, Nigel McGuinness. I love it. Very excited to see Nigel get back in the ring. And I love seeing him kind of be the opposite of the Nigel we have seen in previous years. He comes out and apologizes to Tony Schiavone and to Daniel Garcia. Who is this Nigel?
Actually, I had to look. I was like, well, no. That's Nigel McGuinness. That's the guy who tried to return the American Dragon. I'm like, go check out his Ring of Honor collection. He was never really the babyface.
No, he wasn't. And I love him for it. I can't wait for this, and I can't wait to see. We've already seen the caliber of the quality of the tag team matches that FTR has put on with some of the tag teams on Collision and the pay-per-views recently. I am ready for this.
I am so ready for this. I'm ready to go pop me some popcorn, sit down, and watch Nigel McGuinness run amok in this match.
Yes, that's all I want, really.
Well, we're up to the main event, my friend. It's our steel cage match for the AEW World Title, as we had Jon Moxley versus Samoa Joe, and the announce team agreed with us. They didn't want to be in that ring with them either.
Nope. I don't want to have a pillow fight with those guys. I don't I won't be locked in a cage with either one. Violent as we expected, we just beat the ever-loving hell out of each other.
Well, we're here for the balance, and boy, word, that match had some balance in it. We said last week, you're going to get your full 100% dose of balance this week in that match by itself.
Oh yeah, Moxley bloodied as per usual, all over the place. Man, I definitely wouldn't have been opposed to another Samoa Joe title reign. I'm gonna say that. I found that out during this match.
I was feeling that maybe we're going to get that title to flip until I saw a gentleman wear a hoodie, grab the briefcase, and I'm going, Ashlee, who's this guy? He slid this briefcase into the ring, and Moxley uses the briefcase to smack Samoa Joe into next week. And 1, 2, 3, Jon Moxley and the Death Riders win. Ashlee, that's Gabe Kid. Why the hell is Gabe Kid helping the Death Riders?
Your guess at this point is as good as mine. This is a spot where I primarily would have thought we would have seen the return of Jack Perry. Not to be. Gabe Kid is an interesting choice, and I love seeing him here, no doubt. Very interesting considering he just had a match against the Bucks last week in New Japan. So I'm interested to see what their dynamic is. So hopefully we'll get that answer Wednesday.
Well, you said that. It's interesting because we closed the show with Swerve Strickland climbing up the cage, getting inside, and the Bucks going, oh my beeping word. They had the button to control the cage, so they couldn't hit it fast enough and get the hell out of there.
That was so funny. And that crowd erupted when Swerve's team hit. They are so ready for Swerve to be on top again. And just the Bucks are they get so much flack and they are nothing but hilarious to me. That thing was huge, first of all. That cage button thing. Oh my god. And Matt Jackson, like you said, just pressing the button, trying to get the hell out of the cage. I'm ready for this. They've got I'm excited about the inclusion of Marina and Willow in this.
Well, we are heading to Anarchy in an Arena as Swerve Strickland has had his fill of the BS, and he is not babyface Swerve Strickland. No, my friends. He's gonna embrace his darker side. This is gonna be the Swerve Strickland of a year ago in this Anarchy in an Arena match, and the Young Bucks they say they're good Christian boys. We're about to find out how close to God they are.
I love them, but I don't think that's true.
Because I feel like this is going to be the bloodiest Anarchy Arena match to date.
Yeah, I think it's going to be insane. I think they're going to try to pull out all the stops with this one.
Now, it's going to be interesting because we both been trying to figure out during the course of this show who is the team on both sides, as it's going to be a collection of the Elite and the Death Riders. It depends on if Okada has a Continental title match, which he could have if you watch Dynamite. I feel like they're going with Speedball Mike Belly versus Okada maybe for that title. So,
you upset at that?
I am not upset about that. But it does take away one person that you can have on this team. So maybe the Bucks decided to throw a bunch of money at one Gabe Kid to hire him as a mercenary. But my question to them is, can you really trust that as a mercenary? He'll turn you as soon as you think about it.
Yeah, Gabe Kid is ruthless, and outside of the War Dogs, and maybe New Japan, I don't think he has loyalty to anyone or anybody, anyone. So an interesting hire for sure. But I am excited about the possibility of some of the matchups that Gabe Kid could have here in AEW if he sticks around for a few weeks.
True. Now the Babyface Tag Team we're thinking is going to be Willow Nightingale. It's going to be Kenny Omega, First Strickland.
What a team already.
Samoa Joe, Powerhouse Hobbs. That gives us 5, right? Yeah, that's 5. That should be the Babyface team. So you get Miranda Safir, John Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, and probably the Bucks if you don't want to play with the Gabe Kid fire.
I don't know. We're going to have to see it. They're going to have to kind of finalize everything this week so we can have our finalized card for Double or Nothing.
Well, this is a great question. If you're listening to this podcast, why don't you go over to our Twitter account? It's at the Dynamite Drop. Give us your 2 pairings. Give us your babyface team. Give us your heel team. And we'll talk about it next week on the show. Ashlee, we're going to go celebrate our birthdays. But where can we find you on the Super Information Superhighway?
On Blue Sky. It is at groovyash.bsky.social. And I've also recently joined Dropkicked, which is a wrestling match review site, much like Letterboxd for movies. And my account on there is just Groovy Ash.
And Ashlee's birthday is this Sunday, so wish her a happy birthday, or I'll send Bob from HR to find you.
Oh, no.
And, of course, you can follow this show on Twitter and Instagram at The Dynamite Drop. And until next week, we bid you adieu. Good night. Top podcasters out. Bang.